After my Tio passed, my whole life felt like a bad movie. From start, middle. I haven't got to the end, but it's kind of crazy. When my uncle passed away, I asked him to show me he was still here, and it snowed. I've never been to the snow, and I've always talked to him about it.
Wait, I'll be right back.
He always wanted me to be proud where we came from and to remember our struggle. Not to ignore it, but to embrace it, because ultimately it's who we are. I looked for my uncle everywhere, in my old notebooks, photographs, places we used to spend all of our time at. In my grief, I decided I was going to go to places that I said that we were going to go to when he was living. We had a whole plan, what we would do. He always pushed me to follow my dreams. I'd always get mad when I let other people put me second. I'd always get mad that he put himself second. He was the best teacher. I don't think everyone ever explains to you that sometimes the best teachers aren't always in the classroom, but in life. And you just have to be open to learn. And the hardest part is listening. And listening to the voice inside you. You are not your trauma or your family curse. Sometimes you're just the right type of healing that your family needs. Growing up, if we were dressed a certain way or we spoke a certain way or labeled as a gang member or a chola or that was the category you were fixed in. You were nothing else. And you could be the smartest person in the room, but one look at you and, you're done,
If you cheated, let us know so you can go home and enjoy the rest of your summer.
Permiso. I come from this neighborhood. Yo vengo de este barrio. And I know that sometimes we're tempted to take shortcuts. Just tell me the truth. What happened? Dime la verdad.
Okay.
We're busted. Why don't we just admit it?
How'd you do it?
I got the test ahead of time. I passed it out to everyone else.
How did you get the test?
Mailman. I strangled him. His body's decomposing in my locker.
There was that, early 90s, early 2000s, that was, the deal. That was the hand we were dealt.
Shut up! You're killing me, Smalls.
And he always had a sense of style that I like to this day, like even after he has passed, I wish I had. He had like this I'm the shit mentality. he had this confidence about him that I wish, like, sometimes, like, I would ask him, like, where do you get it from? You know? And he'd just be like, you hold on to it for as long as you can, no matter what. Throughout the years, you know, over time, you know, you open your eyes and you see who your true family and friends are, you know. And, you know, through thick and thin, my Theo has always told me the truth, and he's never broken a promise to me. And him and my dad would always teach us that your word is your bond. If you have nothing, you have your word at least. And we grew up with that, you know. We grew up with, you know, you got to present yourself to the world the way you want to be treated. You know, you can't act dumb and expect to be treated with respect, you know. And I think that is something that's missing in today's generation.
The code.
What do you know about the code?
Plenty. My pa's always going on about it.
Knowing about the code ain't the same as living by it.
Clear enough. Go to the west.
Code of the north. The code of the south. Respect the land, defend the defenseless, and don't never spit in front of women and children.
We have to let people learn things on their own. You can't force anything, and that's taken a long time for me to accept. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force him to drink.
Please, a moment to reflect.
My Theo would always explain to us, you know, like, people don't understand, you know, there's a difference between surviving and existing. And he was always, you know, he was a hard worker when he was young, you know, like, he would always look for work. You know, he was a busser. He worked in kitchens. He was, you know, I think as a young man was just like struggling, finding his way in life. But he knew himself, and that's a blessing to have at an early age, where you know yourself.
I don't know. Ultima says a man's destiny must unfold itself like a flower, with only the sun, earth, and water making it blossom, and no one else meddling in it.
And life isn't, you know, free. It's not a game. But, you know, sometimes you can make it a game, you know, depending on, you know, your beliefs. And, you know, one of my main beliefs, I believe that energy never dies, you know. We're here to touch lives. We're here on a mission, you know, from our creator. And it's, once our job is done here, we get to join our people on the other side. And those are my beliefs, you know. And my Theo has always been like this beautiful person to me, because despite all his pain and all his tribulations and testimonies that he's told me, you know, along the way, growing up, looking up to him, we always told each other, like, if we see one of us about to fall or going down the wrong path, at least one of us would say something. When I had dropped out of college, I told my Theo, like, I understand now. And he was like, tell me, what's going on? What happened? What made you want to drop out? Because, like, my uncle would wait at night for me to leave class just to make sure that I got to my car safe. Or there'd be times where I'd call him and be like, I need you to get something off my chest. And he asked me what happened. I was like, I just feel like I'm being discriminated on. I feel like our pain is profitable. And I think he had that moment where he's like, baby girl, sit down. This is what happens in our world. All the ghosts you carry are always going to be with you. And at that time, he said, one day, I will be with you. Spencer's. we grew up. tethered.
Why are you crying? My ear is bleeding. Look, it was bleeding before you got here. I didn't want to tell you.
And there's times too where in my periods of grief, I like to go hiking. I like to garden. I like to read new books, educate myself more. And my Tio, anytime I have fallen, he is still there. And in strange ways, there'd be times where me and my dad would be chopping up in the kitchen, talking about the good old days, and something will just pop into my head, like something he said, something funny. Me and him would always, because we grew up together, we would always make jokes out of everything. Sometimes we used to just pop by the pad with fucking donut holes. And be like, do you want a donut hole? Ho? But it was just respect. It was just like, you know, again, we share a dark humor, you know. We always have to make each other laugh through our pain. And for that whole year he had passed, I had to learn how to laugh again. You know, I've always been quick to strike a couple jokes, you know. I was like the only girl growing up, like I used to trip out because, you know, the women before me amazed me. So strong and resilient. And there's times where I've thought too a few times, like, damn, like, I don't make them like they used to no more. You know, but it's along the way you meet people that open your eyes to things that you thought you knew everything about. I used to be the I know kid, like, if you don't do this, you're not going to end up with a good job, or if you don't do that, you're never going to get forward in life. And I'm like, I know, I seen it, you know, we all seen it. And I think too, this whole year that I've spent, like, in my traveling and stuff, honoring my Tio and finding good information and good medicine, he helped me find myself. And I think that's the type of impact we should have on one another. You know, it's not just that he was my blood that made him someone that I looked up to. Like, it was always the message he had for me. And, you know, there's times where I'm deep in thought, you know, if we could be here now and we started this together, we'd be the most funniest bastards on the planet. My cousin Ray, he came down. He's so funny, so full of life, and he challenged me a lot to come back out of my shell. You know, I think I ugly cried in front of him like so many times. I feel bad for my poor mijo. We went ghost hunting when he was here, and it was the funniest thing on the planet. I was the driver, and we're driving on this block that's supposed to be a haunted road out in the middle of this old part of the section of the city. And we did hear something. We heard a woman running after my car, like wet feet, like on the pavement. There's nobody there. All there was eucalyptus trees and my headlights. And we were both like looking at each other like, did you hear that? Did you see that? And we were so freaking like, he's like more of the skeptic than I am, because he'll challenge shit. I remember one time we were ghost hunting in my house, and he goes, I don't like to say it out loud because I don't want to evoke nothing, but he was telling me, he's just like, you ain't shit, demons, you gay. And I was like, shut up, don't say that, because, you know, we grew up superstitious in a lot of ways. And on the way back, it was like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, you know, because we looped around that block looking, you know, for a ghost. You know, find it, but we heard it. Saw some strange lights that shouldn't have been there, but, you know, like, okay, let's go home. I've had enough fun today. And we're driving home, and fuck, I saw this guy. There's this guy. He just jumped out the bushes. It's like you go 55, you know, on the strip on the way to my house, and he just jumped out of the bushes, like arms out, like take me. I fucking jumped. I swerved around him, and I think that was the scariest shit that I've ever seen. Instead of that ghost, and on our ride home, it was really quiet, and we were just like in disbelief, like, what the fuck, like, what's going on? 2-3 o'clock in the fucking morning, man. And after that, I kind of told him, I was just like, fuck, maybe it was a sign, like, fuck around and find out. And he's just like, yeah, I guess. And we ended up parting ways. You know, he went to his room, I went to my room. We got home, you know, and I was so freaking adrenaline, like, just my mind racing, like, what the fuck, like, the hell did I just see? I saw 2 freaky ass things in one night. And then the next day we were talking about it. He's just like, so what are we doing next week? And I'm like, I don't know. So when you catch me next week, I will have somebody else here. We will not be talking about grief. This is just a kicker to my Tio, a send off, you know. And it's never goodbye, you know. Nothing is ever, you know, I will see him one day. It's never it's not just the end of his story. Sometimes I feel like it's just the beginning. And, you know, you have to think like that way too. This is not the end. This is just the beginning. And I hope you conquer anything that challenges you, you know, whether it be your anger, your grief, finding understanding, you know. Those are all things I hope you find.
Everybody got choices. Keep it 1,000 out of life that I chose. Everybody got choices. These niggas be hating, I already know, but I never go broke. No. I'ma stay getting money.